All right. Now I feel like teaching you about some basic social skills. All right. I think we'll start with actually listening to people. No one does this. Literally no one. Have you ever had a conversation with somebody? You're talking about something, you're relatively passionate about it, blah, 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 and then they just say something that is so out of left field, so irrelevant to what you were just talking about. You're standing there, you're like, what the hell? Why are you talking about this? That's what you're saying in your head. Maybe you don't have the balls to say it in person, but it happens. It happens, and it's because that person was sitting there with their shotgun loaded, ready to talk about what it is they wanted to talk about. Most people operate this way. They aren't actually listening to the person that they're talking to. They're waiting to say what they want to say. They're waiting to make sounds. They're waiting to speak words. They're waiting to make their point because they're jockeying for, I want to be the person talking because I like talking about me. Don't be this person. It's unbecoming. It's just dumb. I want you to understand something. Actually listening to people is a superpower. And I'll tell you why. First off, this makes for real conversation. I'm a manager by trade. And so I do interviews all the time. I sit down, I ask people questions, they answer the questions, blah, blah, blah. I very much love to lean into asking questions based off of a person's answers. There was one time I was interviewing a cashier of all things. And we were talking about her previous job and why she left and blah, blah, blah. And she was talking about how the management there, they weren't exactly doing it the best. And there were these problems and blah, blah, blah. Okay, whatever. I asked a question based off of that answer. I'm like, okay, knowing what you know about what you don't want to see in management, what would you define as an ideal leader? What would be your definition of good leadership? And that was a really good question for me to ask because it gave me a peek into how she actually ticked. I hired that girl, by the way, because she gave an extremely solid answer. I'll spare you the details. However, I would not have known that if I didn't actually listen to what it was she was saying and formulate a question based upon it. I want you to understand something too. This way of operating in conversation, it makes people like you and it makes it easy to have things to say. You have to understand, I talked about this earlier, people love talking about themselves. I am my own favorite subject. You are your own favorite subject. When somebody asks you about you and they keep asking questions about things you do or things that you did or this, that, or the other, you automatically like them because you feel special, you feel important, you feel heard and listened to. This is not a manipulation tactic that I'm giving you by any stretch of the imagination. This is how I simply want you to operate in day-to-day conversation because you will always learn something from the people that you talk to. Whether it is learning what not to do in your life because they fucked up and they don't know it, or learning precisely how they got to where they are just because you asked some good questions. And as they were talking, you're like, I can pull this thread, I can pull this thread, I can ask about this thing. It is a tremendously easy way to make people like you, and you don't have to sit there desperately trying to think of things to say because you'll be actually listening to them. You'll hear something you maybe want to know more about, and then you'll ask them about it, and they will tell you. And they will do 90% of the talking, but they will like you very much by the end of the conversation. You can do this on dates, too. I do it all the time. But you have to understand that this opens so many doors. If you're at a networking event and you're talking to somebody who's powerful and influential, and you're talking to them in this manner, it is extremely useful. If you're on a date with a girl and you're letting her do all the talking, and you're asking her questions about herself, and she's able to answer, and she's getting all excited because she gets to talk about the things she loves to do, you're sitting there and you're all kind of mysterious because she doesn't know a whole hell of a lot about you yet. But by the same token, she can't help but be into you because you're making her feel special and listened to. Whereas a lot of guys, they're just kind of on their phone. I've seen this, literally. I've gone out with my family, I've gone out with my friends, I've gone out on dates, and I'd see other people on dates, and the dude and the girl are both just on their phone, and I'm like, what the hell are you doing? But that's a topic for another day. What I want you to take away from this video is actually listen to the people that you are talking to. And if you know anybody who is in the position of they don't listen to anybody because they've got their shotgun loaded and ready, send this to them. Maybe they'll learn something. But in any event, my name is Christopher Strobach. I get on here and I rant about anecdotal mindsets that I happen to have that I found are extremely useful to me. And my hope is that they are extremely useful to you in your life. If you found any value in anything that I just said, the only thing that I ask is that you make use of it. If you want to connect with me, talk to me, or message me, my Discord server, my Instagram, they're all linked below. Follow, join, whatever you need to do. Other than that, get after it, kick some ass, and I will see you next time.